Okay guys, so second video as promised. I'm going to do a gear rundown of some of the stuff we acquired. I may talk a little bit about some of the gear that I've acquired because I like to nerd out about gear. And, you know, if you're watching this video, chances are you do too. So without going into more rambling, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start over here. I have obtained a QRX system. If you remember, I believe I have done a video about this back when I was working with Jared and Sacred Hive, who, by the way, shout out to Jared and Sacred Hive. He has done so much with that company. I am so proud of that guy. We actually have not worked together in quite a while because, as much as I hate to say it, he's kind of surpassed me at this point, but I am trying to catch up. I really want to work with him again. But you may remember, I believe in one of the earlier videos of this channel that we've done, we actually rented a QRX system and absolutely love them, still love them. Haven't heard them in years since we actually used to use them back then, like at the end and you know, smaller gigs like that, which even then, like, they were a lot for those small venues. They definitely did their job, and they still do. So got an incredibly good deal on them. So a guy that was selling them locally here, that he just didn't use them anymore, so I picked them up. So we have the QRX 212s and then two QRX 218s, and these things are still freaking awesome. So when I bought the QRX 212 and the 218s, you know, I bought them all from the same guy. It was a full set, and the amps that came with them for the tops was a Crown Microtech 2500 and a QSC RMX 4050 HD. Both tank amplifiers, but I put them in a different rack and bought a used DBX drive rack PA Plus. And because I wanted to be able to rent this out, I wanted to try and make it as plug and play as possible. So that was an inline. I was using it as an inline crossover, but it also has, you know, the capability of delay and every, you know, it's a whole DSP. Also notably, the reason I'd gotten that particular one was because it also had the ability for a biamp crossover on mains, because the 212s can be biamped. Now, I don't generally ever do that. I actually bought another QSC amp that was, I think, 75 watts at 8 ohms per channel, which is actually exactly what the horns and the 212s was rated for. Decided not to go that route because it's just not as worth it to me in the long run. You know, a system like this, you know, it's not like a line array system. You know, when we run the VTX system, you know, obviously we're going to biamp those, but it was more meant as a plug and play kind of situation. So I decided not to go that route. But yeah, so I got the drive rack primarily for low pass, high pass filters and crossover between the two. So I'll post a picture of the rack as it looks now, and as it is ready to go out the door. There's one minor adjustment that I'm going to make to this. I kind of want to put in a TU drawer for the XLR cables that I include with this kit. I include XLR cables with each speaker, with each powered speaker. So there's a 25-foot XLR with each powered speaker. So for this one, I wanted to include 4 25-foot XLRs. So you have 2 for the mains, and if you wanted to run subs on aux, 2 for the subs. So as you can see here, we've got a Crown XLS 2500. This is driving my mains. And then we have a Crown iTech 6000. And that is for the subs. Now, as you can see, I do not have the drive rack in here anymore. I have sold it. Reason being is because, again, I wanted this to be as simple as possible. So I wanted to get a couple of amps that have built-in DSPs that I can also lock it out. So they already have built-in high-pass filter for the 2500 for the mains and low-pass filter for the subs. So that way it's plug and play. If somebody wants to rent the system, they can just plug it in and go. Now, I did mention the capability of using the subs on aux. I wanted to give zero reason for any client to have to get into the back and unplug or plug things in. It's not to say that clients are incompetent or anything, but again, sometimes clients they just need a system to be able to plug in and go. They may not know the ins and outs of amplifiers and whatnot. So I had an idea, of which I found one device that matched exactly what I wanted to do, and that is this guy right here. Just straight up analog switcher, 2-channel switcher, I guess you could say. And basically it's an AB switcher. I happened to find it on eBay, and the guy I bought it from noted that it apparently was used to switch between a PC input and the keyboard input for No Doubt. I did put this in line because I wanted the ability to be able to easily switch between. So basically you have the option of subs on aux or not. And it works beautifully. It works so beautifully. So all you have to do, and I've got them labeled here as you can see. So you switch to this side, and all you have to do is plug in from your main left and right outputs of your board into this, and then the signal goes directly to the 212s mains and your 218 subs all together. And of course the amplifiers are still sending their high pass and low pass filters to both. So it's literally plug and play, but we do have an option if you switch to this other side that you can do subs on aux. So that means that your main left and right is only going to the main amplifier, not the sub amplifier as well. That's why I also have this panel here. This panel has 2 XLR inputs, as you can see, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. The outermost ones on each side are your main inputs, so you have main left on the left side, main right on the right side. And again, if you want to just run signal to both main and subs together, then you would just use those. But if you want to run subs on aux, then that's what the inner 2 XLR ports are for, as you can see here, are your sub left and your sub right inputs. It gives some versatility, but still very plug and play for the end user. And then the panel on the bottom here, of course, has your speak on outputs. Again, outermost, they basically match the input panel. So outermost on each side is your main left and right, and then the inner is your sub left and right. So very plug and play, very easy for the end user to be able to use. And then on the very bottom here, you have a 30 amp power distribution. This lives in this rack. The reason why I put this 30 amp power distribution in here is it makes it a lot easier to use. The iTech 6000, the amp that drives the subs, it's a 20 amp amplifier, and I have measured it, and I've gotten it to peak out at about 16 amps. So it definitely really cannot live on a circuit with anything else. This rack can run on a single 20 amp circuit, or preferably 2 independent 20 amp circuits if you don't have a 30 amp circuit available that you can use, and that would be true in most cases, I think. For instance, if a user knows that they do need to be able to use it on a single 20 amp circuit, then I have an adapter where you can basically just plug the iTech 6000 or the sub amp into a regular 515 outlet, which is, if you go in your house, that's what you got. And I would basically just configure the amplifier to have a limiter, because I have actually, through thorough testing, figured out basically just by lowering the gain, but limiting the output of where it can comfortably live to where the system can be fully operated on a single 20 amp circuit. But this 30 amp power distribution is here for the ideal running on potentially full volume that it really can with these amps. So the 30 amp distribution has 4 20 amp circuits. So one is designated for the mains, which is circuit 1. Circuit 2 is designated for the subs. And at the top here, you can see a Furman M8X2 power conditioner. There's literally nothing plugged into this power conditioner as it is. It is literally in here strictly for a auxiliary power distribution, if you will. So that way, if you need to plug things in to circuit 4 that may not play nice with, like if you're running monitors on the same circuit, then you have the capability of plugging more things into the back of this conditioner, and you should be fine. It just gives some more outlets and some better protection for the user should they decide to use it. But yeah, basically this is what you'll get if you print the system out, and I'm actually pretty proud of how it went together, and it works well. Alright, so enough about the QRX system. That hopefully will be the most that I talk about any one particular system. So, getting back to the rest of the gear, well, finishing out the QRX system, there's the Speakon box. It has all the Speakon cables in it, and then underneath that is the amp rack, which I just showed you. Now, in front of that, we have our two digital mixing consoles. We have a X32 compact, and the actually newly obtained full-size X32, which I've done minor testing before I bought it, but I need to do full testing on it, make sure. I do know it has some very, very minor repairs that need to be done that are mostly cosmetic. As far as I know, it operates as it should. I do know for a fact all the faders work great. So here we have two PRX 818 XLFs. XLF is extended low frequency, and boy do they hit extended low frequency. These things surprise the hell out of me, actually. They are awesome. So I got two of those. I'll go ahead and cut over here too. This is where our pretty much all our smaller power speakers are. But what I was going to show you is I have four PRX 812s. These also sound amazing. Even by themselves, they got some hefty oomph to them, and I just love how they sound. But yeah, so two of these guys, through the partnership of Sound Advice, the owner had actually purchased four JBL Eon 618 subwoofers and four Eon 612 tops. They were great speakers. The subs actually for Eons really impressed me. If you are looking for a decent budget subwoofer, they are definitely more expensive compared to the older Eons, but there is a reason for that. They do a lot more than the older, like the Eon 500 and earlier ever did. The carts I made myself. They are made actually to spec for the Eons, which I no longer have. So that is why the new PRX subs are not quite as wide as the cart, and they extend about a good 3 to 4 inches past the cart. And it works fine for it, honestly, so that's why I just didn't really bother with it. I do plan on getting two more, which is why I went ahead and just did one per each on the carts. So yeah, the Eon 1 Mark IIs that I bought from the partner, these are awesome. I love using these for weddings, or again, panel rooms. They're great for karaoke because they're all-in-one columns. But the thing I love is that these have been super useful for weddings, especially wedding ceremonies, because I'll put one out. These are battery powered, and they actually last quite a while on a full battery, especially if you're just doing like a wedding ceremony, which is not gonna be that long anyways. But I can absolutely just set this up. It has Bluetooth audio streaming, so I could just set this up on its own with a wireless mic if they want one. I can put a wireless mic sitting on top of it, a wireless receiver, and stream the music from my tablet or my phone, which I do all the time. And there's no cables. There's no cables. It's all right there. Like, yeah, obviously with the exception of the wireless mic pack, and if there is one used, but that's another story. Underneath that is one of those Craftsman toolboxes I think I've showed before, that houses the two. Let's see, it's got two of my analog XLR snakes in it. One's a 12x4, 12 in, 4 out, and another one's an 8x4, both 100 foots. And there's also two 300 foot XLR cables that I got with a major purchase from somebody, but won't go into that story. Alto TS-212s, the PRX 812s, as I mentioned, or I think specifically 812Ws, which I would have thought that stood for white, but apparently not. I don't know. or maybe it's wedge. I don't know. I actually never got an answer on that. But anyways, bought those and absolutely love them. Freaking awesome. I will mention this real quick just because I absolutely love these guys. I'm not going to take one out, but I've got these. I don't feel like spending the $80 a pop or whatever it is for the JBL bags for these guys. And I found these on Amazon, and I'll go ahead and drop a link in the description because I don't make money on this stuff, but when I find a great product, I want to share it, you know? So, and I mean, that's what I'm making this video for, right? So these bags right here are awesome. So they actually have two side pockets, one big one that is actually got a divider in it as well, which oddly enough I find kind of useful. But I keep a 10-foot IEC cable with each one of these. All my powered speakers come with a 10-foot C13 power cable and a 25-foot XLR cable. So that's in there. It's also got a smaller front pocket, so you got things in there. And then actually I can show you because I got the same things for these tins. I'll go ahead and tell you these tins are the Eon 610s. I just realized, I am so sorry. When I was talking about the Eon 600s earlier, there's 700s. So when I was talking about the Eons earlier, they were actually the 718s and the 712s. I do apologize. So these are Eon 610s that I actually got during the pandemic. There was a guy that actually just bought them. He even still had the boxes for them, and he sold the pair for like $300. Like, I could not pass that up. And they proved very useful, actually. I use them all the time for monitors. We use them for small panel rooms at conventions. I'll even use one or two as monitors when I do mobile DJ gigs now. And I'll talk a little bit about that probably in another video though. But what I wanted to show you, which you may not be able to see very well, is that on the other side of those, from the pockets, they also have these little nylon straps with buckles. I believe that is so if you have like a tripod stand that you want to attach to it. I just love how versatile these are, and they're very well padded. They're also made to where they unzip from each side. There's two zippers, so they unzip from each side. You can zip them up to where you can actually keep the bags on the speakers, I think. Like if you're worried about, because I think, I do recall, if I remember right, these are waterproof, nylon padded bags. But yeah, they're made to where you can basically keep them on the speaker and just unzip the front and stick it on a stand, which I think is freaking awesome. Very versatile. Two Seismic audio. Down there is a pair of Klipsch speakers. I actually got these and we use them all the time for front of house monitors. So if we need to solo something on the X32, we can. And they actually work really well for that, I think. Audio cable case, I'll go through it real quick. 100-foot XLRs, 50-foot XLRs, 25-foot XLRs, which there's a crap ton of, 15-foot, 10-foot, 5 and 6-foot, 3-foot XLRs, and these are all XLR to TRS cables of various lengths. Mostly, let's see, there's two 25-foots in there. I think there's a couple of 6-foots, maybe a couple of 10-foots. The rest of them are like 1 and 2-foots for like little changeover cables, which get used quite often actually, but I can talk about that again another time. This is pretty much everything else. So this is TS cables for like guitar cables and stuff, RCA cables. We've got, let's see, so I just bought these. So I got, because I found myself running short of RCA cables a lot lately, so I got a few more 4-foot RCA cables. I went ahead and got a couple of 8-foots because they come in handy every once in a while. All of your 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter, or otherwise known as aux cable to RCA cables are in here. I have several aux cable to dual 1/4 inch, which we use all the time for front of house music and whatnot. I recently obtained an aux cable to dual XLR because I found that those can be handy as well. But I've also got a 1/4 inch TRS aux, if you will, to dual female XLR. Because I've found in some of these situations that I can talk about at another time, I figured those would come in handy. Like if I want to send monitors for like a DJ. A lot of times when we have DJ shows, I'll put a small analog mixer on the table, so that way everybody can just plug in there. We can do visual sound checks and get the gain structure set and everything while another DJ is still performing. But I figured this way, if we're lacking proper monitor outputs, I could just use it, plug into the headphone output, and then go to the stereo monitors from there. So yeah, that's basically that. Oh, this, I want to talk about this. Hold on. I mean, it's not much to talk about. Hold on. Let me put this TS cable back up. I don't even know why it was out. I think it was on top of a shelf for some reason. Yeah, this organization right here, which again, we'll go through it all, was actually done 2 days ago. It was not completely disorganized, but it also wasn't that organized either to begin with. Alright, so this guy right here, here's what I want to show you. So first of all, I keep this pin Sharpie in here, and you'll see why. I had the idea, when we do cons, conventions, and bigger concerts and music festivals, we have a lot of XLR cabling going out, especially for our main stages, right? And sometimes my crew members will use masking tape or painter's tape on the cables to label, you know, front of house left, front of house right, main left, sub left, all that good stuff. Monitor left, monitor 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And I got to think, I was like, surely something like this exists, and they do. These are awesome. These are zip tie labels, and I've used these, and actually, you'll actually see on some of the equipment as I show it to you, there's still several of these tags on cases and bags. So I will actually print labels and stick on here. Otherwise, I got these for labeling cables, so when you plug in your cables into the digital snake or analog snake, whatever, instead of getting that sticky goop all over it from the tape, especially when they get left on, zip tie one of these on, and you can write on it with that Sharpie, and then I have tried it out several times, because we've actually used these in the field. When you write on it with that Sharpie, you can write on it and immediately it won't smudge. It's on there. These are awesome, and not that expensive either, and well worth the money. I got, I think, 1,000 of them. And like I said, I'll show you where I've actually used them to label bags and cases, because when setting up and preparing for larger, like, let's say conventions, this seems to be one of the things I think we're kind of specializing in these days, are conventions. There we go. One of the things I would do is strap one of those zip tie labels that I just showed you on like one of the case handles somewhere where it's not going to be missed. So when I'm preparing everything and we have multiple rooms that equipment are going in, I'll go ahead and label all the different things, so speakers, racks, cases, whatever cases, and label what rooms they're going in, so that way when we unload the truck, they get staged in groups according to those labels, and then they just, once we get everything unloaded, they take that group and go where it needs to go. And it made things so much easier and quicker in the long run. Alright, so for whatever reason, the audio in the video I took for the mixer microphone shelf just sounded absolutely horrid. I don't know why, but here we are. I'm just going to do a voiceover on this. So basically, I'm just explaining this is the microphone and mixer shelf. It's actually going to go on another shelf that I've got to get here, you know, next to the speaker shelves, because why wouldn't I? So the microphones and mixers are going to go there. This shelf that they're currently on is actually going to be used for miscellaneous things, which is what you see kind of on the top shelf there. So we have batteries, hardware, tools, materials, miscellaneous things. Basically a junk shelf. So first of all, we got the Shure BLX wireless body pack kit with the Shure BLX 1. The Shure BLX 4 is the receiver, which I'm just showing you have a couple of extras there. But yeah, so it's a Shure BLX 1 wireless body pack, which has a mini XLR input, and it comes with a lapel microphone, of course,
but we did actually purchase, through some rigorous testing, we actually purchased some, believe it or not, Pyle wireless ear loop sets. We have the single ear loop, like you would see on a speaker or a pastor or something in a church, the flesh colored ones, but we also have a double ear headset style, which is basically the same thing, just it goes over 2 ears instead of one. And yeah, we went with Pyle because, oddly enough, I would never recommend Pyle anything. I mean, I tend to call it a pile of crap for a reason. They make very cheap, just horrible products. I'm sorry, Pyle, but you do. But these microphones, for the price, I need to add, for the price, the Pyle Earloop headset microphones actually sound really decent, compared to some others that are around the same price point, which is like, I think we're talking $15-$20. So even upwards of $30 and $50. We tried some other microphones that we found in various places online, obviously mostly Amazon. They actually sounded really good. They do have a little bit of noise in them, of course, just because, handling noise, not necessarily noise floor, but they do have some handling noise. But again, for the price point and as cheap as they are, they sounded really good. They were very comfortable for the user to use. The wire is a bit inferior in that it can get a short kind of easily, which, to be honest, I found out is more of a result of how it was being stored. So as long as you're careful with that, they will last. But that being said, even if something happens to them, they're super cheap. I wouldn't even mind like getting a few on hand and then just getting some new ones if they start breaking or something. I mean, they're so cheap, it's worth it to me. Whereas you could buy a $200, $250, $300 wireless ear loop, and if something happens to that, you're pretty well screwed. So anyways, that was the Shure BLX body pack kit. This is the Shure BLX 24, I believe. It's the Shure BLX 4, same receiver, with the BLX 2 PG58 wireless handheld microphones. So here are the Shure PGX 24s, I think. This is the PGX receiver, PGX4 receivers with the PGX 2 wireless SM58 handheld microphones. So these are some windscreens and sleeves that I got dirt cheap. The windscreens actually work really well and obviously are very useful, especially when we're using them outdoors. But the real reason I got them are these quote-unquote anti-roll sleeves. You just slip them on, and when you lay the microphone down, it helps keeping it from rolling off the table. But the actual reason I got them is to try and discourage people from cupping the mic. If you are a musician or a rapper, whoever you are, stop cupping the mic, please. If you want your performance to sound good, hold the microphone correctly by the actual handle, not the ball. So this is just a wireless IEM system that I actually got for my personal use. I'm not going to rent it out or anything. I might loan it to somebody, but this I actually got this for my personal use, for when I do stage performances, even DJing and stuff, for some stage performance ideas I got coming. These are the LD Systems U305.1 BPLs. I believe that stands for Body Pack Lav, because that's what's in there. Wireless body pack with a lapel microphone. I actually got these through the pandemic as well as a really good deal. No, I take that back. I got them after the pandemic on a really good deal. They sound really good. Again, for the price point, they work really well. They have a decent range and they sound very good. Definitely recommend those. Down here, we have the Behringer S16 digital snake that we use obviously for Midas mixers and Behringer digital mixers with the AES-50 protocol. This is a Behringer Xenix, is how I pronounce it. I'm not going to pronounce XENYX. I don't know how you actually pronounce it, but Behringer Xenix 1002B. It's technically a battery-powered capable mixer, which I've never used that feature, but I've used this mixer for many, many years, pretty much as long as I've been DJing, and still obviously use it, take good care of it. Highly recommend it if you can get one. They work really well. This is the Behringer Xenix 1204 USB. This actually is very new. We used it one time, which actually so what it is why it's called USB is it has a USB interface built in, which came in very useful the one time we used it actually. We had a special guest at a convention that apparently could not make it, so they decided to do a Discord call with them and run through OBS for the projection and interaction with the crowd and everything. So that came in real handy in that for that little event. This is a little 4-channel mixer, a Mackie, or I guess 5-channel, according to the model, but I haven't actually used it yet. I don't even remember where it came from. It's in good condition. I just got to repair the power cable there, as you can see, and it should work fine. I just haven't done it yet, but that's why it's sitting there. And then underneath that is the XR18, the Behringer XR18, which I've been using for a very long time as well. I purchased it for, I believe, the second or third, I believe it's the third Elvis memorial dinner that we used to do. Unfortunately, it kind of died off during the pandemic. But anyways, Behringer XR18, which comes with a wireless router, 25-foot Ethernet cable, and a 16-foot USB cable should you want to use it as a multi-channel audio interface. So all that comes with it. Here on the in this Pelican case, we've got a Apache case. We have my DJ laptop. What used to be my personal laptop, I actually replaced it, and so just decided to designate the old one as strictly a DJ laptop. Next to that is my DDJ SB2, which I do still use. I have actually upgraded, or I've also gotten a Pioneer DDJ SX, which I absolutely love using it, especially for stage performances, and I couldn't show it because it's actually at the house right now. But the SB2 I still use, especially for smaller gigs, wedding gigs, stuff like that. I'm always going to use that. Those are all table mics that I'm pointing out. Those are mono-price tabletop microphones that they actually, again, for the price point, sound really good. I want to say they're like $40 a piece. They come with a base station with an on-off button, and both on the base station as well as right behind the head of the microphone on the gooseneck part of it has a light to indicate when it's turned on or off. But they sound really good. We had actually gotten one for a restaurant that we had built in Mississippi that they wanted to be able to have a announcement microphone to announce, reservation openings or whatever, or table openings for guests there. And we got this one because it was inexpensive. I tested it in my studio, and it actually sounded really good and worked really well. Sounded really good in the field too, so I decided to get 4 more, and they work really well for doing panels for panelists. We actually at a recent convention we just did, they had a D&D event, and we put one in front of each of the D&D players, and it worked super well. Theoretically, according to the website, you can use just the microphone without the bass, and so if you have a podium that has just an XLR input at the podium, you can just plug the gooseneck part in without the bass. I feel like I tried that. I need to try it again. Maybe I did something wrong, but I feel like I tried that and we didn't get it to work. But either way, so yeah, that's that. Down here is just a Wi-Fi kit, has a wireless router in it, a Ethernet cable, and an Android tablet, a Samsung Galaxy. So we just have it as a kit that we might send out. You can use it obviously with the Behringer XR18, but also if somebody wants to use it to control like the X32 remotely or something like that, then we can send that out with them as well. It's already got the Mix Station app already on it, and it's already paired with the wireless router, so it's ready to go. That right there is a rigging box. It's got our ratchet straps, safety cables, flying hardware, all that good stuff in it. And then that bin right there is just some materials, adhesive, stuff like that. So again, part of the junk shelf scenario there. All right, let's take a look inside the microphone box here. So yeah, okay, let's start with this CAD microphone drum microphone kit, excuse me. Yes, it's cheap. They actually don't sound bad. I actually got this, kind of inherited it from a convention that I had bought these for, that I used to be AV director for, that unfortunately also died off during the pandemic. The guy I bought them from They're obviously already inexpensive. I bought them used, even cheaper. You know, obviously these are not going to be my primary go-tos, but especially if I have a drummer that maybe I don't want to risk ruining some high-dollar Audix microphones or even Shures, you might give them these because they just don't sound bad. It depends on the gig, of course, but they don't sound bad. The guy I bought them from used to use them for recording for his band and actually showed me the raw recordings, and again, they didn't sound bad, which is why I decided to go with them. So yeah, anyways, comes with a kick drum microphone. Has 3 tom microphones, a snare microphone, and 2 pencil condenser microphones, which again, altogether does not sound bad, especially for the price point. If you're needing some really cheap drum microphones, I would probably recommend them. And it's ironically happens to fit just right in this lid here, to where it sits right next to the phone piece that holds the handheld microphones. I don't know, it just worked out beautifully that way. All right, so here we've got 4 SM58s, Shure SM58s, pretty industry standard. Here we've got a Sennheiser MD735, which I believe is a supercardioid microphone. Sounds really good. It's probably one of my favorites that I own. Audix OM5, again, another supercardioid microphone, I do believe. Another one of my favorite microphones because they just sound really good. This is an old Shure P56, 1977 microphone, actually, that I've owned forever. I actually refurbished it, had to do a couple of resolder joints, one on the diaphragm and one on the switch plate, I believe, which obviously it does have a switch. The other thing I had to do was the windscreen that was in the ball was completely dry rotted, so completely cleaned it out, put a new one in, and it sounds very decent. Again, good for simple speech or announcements, talkback microphone. 4 Shure SM57s, again, pretty industry standard. Here we have 2 Audio-Technica ATM11 condenser microphones, generally used for overheads. Here we have another Audio-Technica. This is an Audio-Technica AT3525, another condenser microphone. I actually picked this one up and refurbished it. I think it was actually given to me. But anyways, refurbished it. Actually sounds really good. I've used it as overhead microphone for a drum kit, as a single overhead. For some specific cases, or even I actually even paired it with a couple of pencil condensers to help pick up maybe the hi-hat more or something like that. Also really good for guitar amps, miking up guitar amps. And here we've got some more windscreens. We've got a lot of microphone clips, butterfly clips. I keep a lot of butterfly clips because sometimes they're just easier to use, especially with some people. Here we have 3, I actually have 4, but one broke and I need to get another one. These are Hosa Sidekicks DI boxes, been using those for years. They work great, especially for the price point. Just picked this guy up. This is a Studio Man DI2. It's a stereo DI box, or a 2-channel DI box. Also sounds really good. I'm actually pretty impressed with it, again, for the price point for a 2-channel DI box. And then there is just a whole bunch more microphone clips. So yeah, that's it for the microphone box. Oh yeah, over here we've got speaker stands, microphone stands. That case is full of microphone stands and some extra microphone stands and parts back there. But that's all that is back there, just stands basically. But yeah, so that pretty much does it for audio world side of things. I think this is kind of a lengthy video. This may be, I want to say, probably the longest one of the 4 videos in the series. But next one is going to be lighting world, and we will see you there.